Hi, welcome to Cyprus. This is the Aphrodite Hills Golf Resort. My name is Chris Ryan, and in this video we're dealing with fairway bunkers and how you can escape from them first time, decent distance down the fairway, and they're not going to cost you a shot. Tough shot. First thing we need to do is establish what is the best club for you to use. That is going to depend on two things: how far you've got to go, which makes sense, and also if you've got a lip. Now you can see here the bunker I'm in, there is a lip, but it's not particularly extreme. So I don't really have to worry too much about my ball getting up over that. However, if that was a more extreme lip, I need to start thinking about what club will get that ball up over that lip. Obviously, the more loft you have, the higher that ball is going to go. And ultimately, the easier that club is to hit from the bunker. Now, even if there is no lip, don't get too ambitious. It's a tough shot. It's not going to be as easy as it would be from the fairway. So maybe go for the middle of the green, don't worry about the flag, or maybe even just take a club and lay up short of the green. So if I had, let's say, some 200 yards, let's not worry about trying to hit that rescue club out. Let's maybe take something like a 9 or an 8, advance it 100, 120 yards. At least you're going to get that ball back in play. Now I've selected a 6-iron for this shot. Don't have to worry too much about the lip. Now I have to think about what am I going to do in my technique, which is going to help me play this shot a little bit better. So the first thing I want to do is ensure that I've actually got a pretty good solid footing. That's going to mean sort of setting my feet into the sand a little bit and making sure I've got a good solid base. What that is effectively going to do is it's going to get me a touch lower in the sand. I then need to counteract that by going down the handle by just a small amount. If I don't make that adjustment, as I set my feet in, it increases the chances of me making contact with the ground, or in this case the sand, slightly before the ball. If we hit this ball heavy, it's going to go a very, very short distance. If we hit this ball slightly thin, so maybe a groove too low in the club face, we're actually not going to lose too much distance. So we'd like to err on the side of caution here, making sure we don't take too much of that sand. What are we going to do in our setup? Well, I would like you, once you've made that solid base and you've gone down the handle by a small amount, I actually want you to feel as if you set a little bit more weight into your lead side. Not a huge amount, but just enough that you just feel a little bit more pressure under that lead leg. And what I want you to do in your backswing is I want you to feel that kind of stays there. We are going to be transferring pressure onto this right side, but I don't want you to have any kind of lateral movement onto that leg. Any lateral movement compromises your strike. And when we compromise a strike, that's when we find these bunker shots very, very difficult to deal with. We are trying to take the ball first, the sand second. These little tweaks are going to help us do that. My ball position for this particular shot, I can leave where it is. So I haven't really worried about that too much. And I really want you to think now about the sand that's after the golf ball. Now, I'm going to think of an area around about here. And if I just put a little mark there, it's going to be easier for me to see that. That's almost going to be my focus point when I'm making this golf swing. If my focus point is target side of the golf ball, it's going to mean that I'm starting to maybe shift my weight a little bit earlier, a little bit better, and I'm going to be a little bit more inclined to strike that ball before the sand. I certainly don't want any attempt to lift that ball. And certainly when we find ourselves in a situation where there's a little bit more of a lip, this can often happen in the golfers I see out on the golf course. The lip is in the way, they realise they've got to get it up, they lean back, hit the sand first. Ball, if it does get out the bunker, only goes a short distance. I've got to trust the loft on the golf club and trust the strike to get that ball out. Last thing, I'm going to make a slightly shorter backswing, so therefore I'm not going to have as much speed. The reason for that, even though I've given myself a pretty solid base, it is sand, it is loose. The more aggressive I am with my swing and the more speed I try and put in the golf club, the more likely it is that my feet are going to move. And if there's any movement in my feet, if I slip at all, as we said before, it's going to compromise the strike, and the strike is king in these shots. If we can strike it well, the result we get should be okay. Right, let me have a go. Set my feet in, slightly down the handle, a little bit more weight forward, and we're going to focus on that sand just after the golf ball. Okay, so I don't know if you picked that ball flight up, that was a little bit off the bottom of the golf club. However, that sort of highlights the point quite well because that wasn't a perfect shot. But because it was slightly thin, that's much, much better than slightly heavy. That was definitely a little bit low in the club face, but I'm out. I've advanced it a good distance down there. I've done my job. Had there been a lip, might be a different story, but there wasn't, so I'm okay. But as I say, slightly thin is always going to be better than slightly heavy, because it's going to be a much, much better result for you. We're trying to give ourselves a little bit of margin for error, and by making those setup changes, I actually put myself in a position where I could hit a non-perfect shot and actually get a good result. So I'll definitely take that. So hopefully that helps. Next time you're in a situation, don't let it spoil that hole. Make sure you get that ball back into play. Don't be too ambitious. Make sure you've got enough club. The loft on the club is going to get you over the lip. Take your punishment, get it back in play, and hopefully you'll deal with these a little bit better in the future after that video. Thanks for watching. Thank you to Aphrodite Hills for letting me have use of their golf course for a few days. Thank you to Golf Breaks. They made it all happen. As usual, the stuff down below the video, the like button, the comments box, and also the link to subscribe. If you're not a subscriber already, go ahead and click that link. More videos just like this one coming each and every week. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again soon.